Welcome to another episode of Follow the Brand TV. I am your host, Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM, a 5-star personal brand and business development company. I want to take you on a journey through another deep dive into the world of personal branding and business development using compelling personal stories, business conversations, and tips to improve your brand. By listening to the Follow the Brand TV series, you will differentiate yourself from the competition and build trust with prospective clients and employers. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Make it one that will set you apart, build confidence, and reflect who you are. Building your 5-star personal brand is a great way to improve your skills and knowledge. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, please email me at grant.mcgaugh@5starbdm.com. Now, let's begin with our next episode on the Follow the Brand TV.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
I'm a technology strategist, and what that means is I sit with businesses, I try to understand where they want to go, how they want to get there, and figure out how we use technology to get the business there. So my role is actually very simple. It sounds complicated, but it's very simple. I really believe that you have to find your purpose in technology. And no matter what you do, and this could be true for every function, technology, accounting, or whatever have you, right? You have to find your purpose. And that can be hard today in technology because there's so many different things you can do. There's software delivery, cybersecurity, there's virtual reality, there's IoT. I mean, the options are endless.
Welcome, everyone, to the Follow Brand Podcast. This is going to be a fantastic episode because I get to talk to my friend, Vidette. Vidette is so wonderful. She's telling me a lot about her background, where she came. She's telling me she went to school in Arkansas. I'm like, Arkansas? So here's the deal. We're sitting there, we're talking. She tells me, yeah, I grew up in India, and then I went to school in Arkansas. And I'm thinking, like, you're in India, and how do you think about, you know what, let's go to school in Arkansas? That is an interesting dynamic. That's like me saying, you know what, I'm going to go to school in Nepal. Like, I don't know anything about Nepal, but I'm going to go there. This is interesting to find out how many people make decisions that ultimately define their life, and their role. So I want to introduce you to Vidette. We're going to get into this conversation right away. Vidette, introduce yourself.
Grant, thank you for having me on your show. I'm really excited to be here today. And thank you for all the work you do in evangelizing healthcare and elevating people's lives. So thank you for that. I'm a technology strategist. And what that means is I sit with businesses, I try to understand where they want to go, how they want to get there, and figure out how we use technology to get the business there. So my role is actually very simple. It sounds complicated, but it's a very simple.
Well, let's talk about I think is complicated. How do you go from India? And I don't know exactly, and you'll tell me, a little town, you're in India, and you come all the way to the US to go to school to get your education in a itty bitty town like Arkansas. I've never even been to Arkansas. I have no idea. So I'm like, I don't know about India and I don't know about Arkansas. And I want to know from you, how was that experience?
So for me, it was a wonderful experience. I'm sitting in school, we're finishing up high school, and the question is, what do I do with my life next, right? And when I grew up, computer science was not mainstream curriculum for us. It was an elective. It was something you did on the side. And I grew in love with technology in about seventh grade. And here's how it happened. My mom helped me go to a summer school to just explore technology because I was bored during summer. And that's how I fell in love with it. So fast forward, I'm getting out of college. I'm getting ready to go to college. And the question is, what do I do with my life? And honestly, I said, you know what? The United States seems to have the best programs in comp sci, and it's very fast forward in terms of the technology adoption. Let me just go to the US. So a bunch of friends sitting around throwing darts on a map. And we said, okay, Arkansas it is. We got in. Seems like we could make it there. And hey, just friends being friends.
I
And that's
am
a
intrigued.
lifelong decision, not much critical thinking to it.
Did you hear what she did? She said throwing darts on the map. And
Yes.
Arkansas was the closest, and she made a great decision. I want to talk a little bit more about that experience in India. We had talked a little bit before, and we talked about women in tech. I really want to do a lot around women in tech, especially in the US. I don't think it's widely adopted for women. I don't know if it's just exposure to comp sci, exposure to certain things, but you're telling me in India, there is a lot of women in technology. Can you expound on that?
Yeah. So, what was interesting to me is when I came to study tech here, the whole concept of women in tech, I was literally the only woman in the classroom, firstly. But the whole concept of women in tech is exciting. But when you go to India, there's a lot of women in tech. We don't even talk about this, right? And I don't know what it is, Brent. I will tell you this. When I went to school in an all-girls school, and that's how most of the schools in India are at the time, at least. It was mostly all girls and all boys, separate schools. But our curriculum was the same, no matter what. And I don't think as kids we get exposed to, gosh, boys can do this better than us, or girls can do this better than us. That's the one good thing about that system. And so we just grow up thinking that, gosh, we're really good in science. We're really good in math. We don't have that comparison point or someone telling us that, oh gosh, the boys there are no boys to talk about, right? So I think that's part of it. I just never grew up thinking that this was not my area of expertise. Secondly, I think because India is an interesting country. We have 600 different languages, so many different, religions, and we have just kind of grown up to accept our differences. And for that matter, even differences in how we speak, how we interact with each other, culture, subculture to subculture, and for that matter, even man to woman, right? And India has its own set of problems when it comes to gender diversity, but for the most part, we've kind of just learned to accept our differences. We talk differently, we work differently, and so be it. And I think that translates very well into the workplace. When we go into the workplace, we are not challenged or we are not scared of our differences. If anything, it unites us. I think that kind of meant a lot to me, kind of going into comp sci and exploring it in that little high school class that I was in, Hey, Vidette, what are you doing here? All right, just let's have fun, right? And so that kind of has taken me a long ways, right?
It has taken you a very long way, all the way from India to Arkansas to here in Florida, in which you've had a pretty stellar information technology career. If you had to look into that and really kind of step out of yourself a little bit and take a look at your role and what you do and how you've been impactful, what would you say that you're leveraging as a asset for you over and over again that makes a difference in how you go to work?
Mm, um, gosh, I love that question. I love that question. And as I reflect on your question, Grant, I have my whole career just flashing in front of me right now, and I get goosebumps. I really believe that you have to find your purpose in technology. And no matter what you do, and this could be true for every function, technology, accounting, or whatever have you, right? You have to find your purpose. And that can be hard today in technology because there's so many different things you can do. There's software delivery, cybersecurity, there's virtual reality, there's IoT. I mean, the options are endless. And it's very easy to just get lost in doing technology. I have to tell you a story. So it took me 13 years to really find my place in technology. I was working when I started out after college. I worked for some of the most innovative companies, in during the dot-com bubble, if you remember that bubble, launching shopping carts, writing enterprise software, just revolutionizing the way we did business and how we managed our communities and the world in general. But I never felt happy. There was something missing. And there were many times in my career I felt like, gosh, did I make the right decision? And here it is. I left home. I'm all the way in America. Told my parents goodbye, and chose not to return home. And how do I say I'm not happy, right? I don't want to go home because I would feel like a failure. But there were many times in that 13 years I really felt like maybe I didn't make the right decision. But in 2010, something happened. And if you remember, this was when patient advocacy just came out, the Patient Affordable Care Act. Obamacare just came out. And I was working for a company where we were writing software for doctor practices, implementing software for EHR systems, secure messaging. And it was a transformational initiative. And we did it very successfully for 500 plus doctors across the nation. And it was a lot of sleepless nights. And at the same time, I was about to have my baby. And so I'm balancing my personal life with career. And it was a very stressful life too. Now, at this company, what we would do, Grant, is we would have our monthly town hall and we would talk about the growth of our business, just over lunch with the entire company. But one of the things they would do is they would read the patient testimonials. And there was this one testimonial that gave me goosebumps. It made me choke, and it also got tears to my eyes. And it was this lady who was terminally ill, and she accepted the fact that she was terminally ill. And she talked about how these new technologies that just got rolled out had helped her manage her life. She could now get to her health records without driving to her doctor's office on the days that she could not get out of it. If she was not feeling well, she could pick up the phone and do a secure message and send her doctor a picture of a condition on her skin and talk through it and diagnose it without having to drive through her doctor's office. She was able to, monitor herself remotely and send the stats to her doctors without having to get up and deal with the pain. And what she thanked us for is making her last days manageable. And it brought tears to my eyes because for the first time in my career, I felt like it is not the technology that excites me. it is actually the transformational power it has. And I think as technologists, sometimes we lose that because it's very easy to get lost in what am I doing? But you just got to remember how you're helping your community. It choked me because for a moment, I was wondering to myself, how can we make this for everybody at that point in time? And even till today, really good healthcare is still accessible to those who are really wealthy. And so in that moment of being choked, the question in my mind was, how do we transform the entire world? Because technology has the power to do so, right? And it gave me goosebumps because I realized that this is really what I enjoy doing. And so I share that with you today because I think it is moments like that that technologists have to look for in order to understand where it is that we're really heading, what it is that really ignites us. And these are the things that keep us up.
The health system that I grew up in, that my mom worked at, they were embarking on their epic journey. And so I was hired into a new role here that they had, which was the Chief Technology Officer. And so my scope of responsibilities here is all on the tech side predominantly, but we play such an integral role with our application colleagues and with our epic colleagues. So that's where I joined the organization here. NCH healthcare system at the time where Hurricane Ian hit us directly and us in the Fort Myers area. So in healthcare IT, we are driven by disaster recovery, right? Like we plan for it our whole careers. Like that's the first thing you learn about when you come into an IT organization is what's the disaster recovery plan? And typically, once you've been in the industry for some time, you are used to working through disasters.
I tend to operate more in the vein of what are we doing as an enterprise, as an organization around our goals and our strategy, taking that first, and then looking more broadly across that stack to say, okay, where do we have gaps in the technologies that exist today? But more importantly, where do we have gaps in what we seek to achieve where technology is not going to be as efficient or as adequate as is necessary to meet those targets? So passionate about this space. And again, you know, I've had the great fortune to have had some wonderful mentors and leaders in my time that I've learned so very much from. And I really seek to do the same and to give that back. I love mentoring and seeing people grow. Building those high performing teams is where I really find my greatest value and contribution.
you have to do your work first. You have to research, you have to study, you have to take courses, you have to believe in yourself, and you really have to fight hard. I see concerns, but I also see that as professionals like you and I in the industry, in this space, we need to help people and society by creating policies, frameworks, and guidelines, not only for organization, but for people, because this is going to be, AI is everywhere.
That keeps me up, man. I'm so glad that you shared your why and how you found your mission, your vision, your values. You see a lot of this on a lot of organizations' walls, but it's about the experience. It's about how you're actually helping humanity to have a different experience, more positive experience, even at the point of the end of this human life. If you can make someone's life a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more positive in its scope than before. So utilizing technology, which I've always had that view, is that it's an enablement tool. We should be enabling the human experience to be a little bit better. So it's not tech for tech's sake. So with that question, or I say that understanding, here's the question. There's a lot on the technology horizon that's changing the human experience. AI is taking everybody by storm. They're starting to see how they can utilize these tools to do things differently. Maybe it's do things faster, do things better, more precise. How do you see this particular type of technology changing the landscape in healthcare?
Yeah, great question, Grant. When new technologies come out like this, there's good and there's bad, right? And I feel like right now we're all sitting back, watching this unfold in front of us and wondering what's going to come out of it, right? And I've been paying attention to the applications of AI, and I'm excited, just like we're kind of all passionate about the impact that this has on the lives of people, right? The good that I'm seeing come out of it is the companies like Google, they have, I believe it's called AI for Social Good. And Microsoft, they have AI for accessibility, primarily focused on disabilities and helping people through those challenges. And I'm really excited to see kind of like the work that's coming out of that field right now. For example, I've come across these examples where there's scans and MRIs that are being intelligently read, right? And there's good and bad in that. There's faster access to healthcare, and it's going to make things more precision oriented and faster. But then the downside to that is, could their jobs be eliminated? So there's good and bad in these scenarios. But I do believe that all this is happening for our better good. And what I like about technology is it can do a lot of good. It can also do a lot of bad. It's how we choose to use the tool, right? One of the things that caught my attention on Social Good by Google is also the reading initiative. Having grown up in India, I've lived in communities and I've seen communities where people don't know how to read. And they actually have a virtual assistant now, and they're spreading the ability to learn through AI. And so when I see these things, it gives me goosebumps, right? I think we're on the cusp of being able to do really transformative things and good things for our communities. And it's very exciting to me. Another thing I'm seeing is they're using satellite imagery to predict floods, to predict forest fires, to even manage them, right? And Google has another, I don't work for Google, by the way. Google has another initiative, and it's called the Canopy Project, where they're kind of looking at the forest canopy across the globe, using AI to solve some of these global challenges. I think we're going to have the ability to do that. Of course, it's a little premature because we have to see the application.
Yeah.
People are thinking about this really gives me so much hope and joy. On the downside, we have cybersecurity. Cybersecurity has always been a challenge, and AI gives them even more tools to penetrate our enterprises through artificial means and gain intelligence. Those are some of the downsides to it. There's a whole concept, and we've seen this with other technologies, is bias. Not knowing how AI works, it's still a black box. I mean, I'm on ChatGPT asking questions all day long, but I really don't know the algorithm behind all those answers. And you have to wonder how much bias is in it. And will we find out down the road if there is bias in AI? So I think that question still remains, And then while all that is happening, and this is where my love for sci-fi comes in. I've always liked sci-fi, by the way. And when I say this, people say, but you're so crazy. But there's a whole existential question, right? From a sci-fi perspective. Could AI actually surpass human intelligence? And what does that mean for us? And will our jobs be as rewarding if it does?
Interesting question.
Yeah, I think those questions are yet to be answered. But right now, I feel really encouraged because I see a lot of organizations, a lot of people trying to better our world. And even in business, you see a lot of automations coming, and they're intelligent automations. And so I think, I feel like we're on the right track.
Hello, leaders and visionaries. Are we ready to exceed our ambitious goals for 2024? At 5-Star BDM, we're your strategic partners, not just futurists. To the trailblazers in business development, healthcare, and IT, you need a path to realize your vision for growth. Our tailored consulting services are your stepping stones to success. We empower you to build brands, deliver results, and captivate audiences. In healthcare and IT, innovation is progress. At 5-Star BDM, we ensure your operations beat with precision, efficiency, and care. Join those who shape the future. Connect with us today. Let's set the stage for a defining quarter. With 5-Star BDM, it's not just business development, it's a beacon of excellence.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.
A groundbreaking digital platform offers streaming videos and podcasts with content to enhance your career, business, and lifestyle success. Get insights from industry-leading experts, entrepreneurs, executives, and thought leaders. iCaba TV covers career development, business strategies, wealth creation, personal growth, and luxury lifestyle. Be a part of the iCaba global community as we elevate our talent, skills, and knowledge. iCaba World Network TV, amplifying our unlimited potential and showcasing our greatness. Do you have a show for iCaba TV? Join the iCaba World Network and submit your existing podcast or streaming show. iCabaWorldNetwork.com.
Follow the Brand TV broadcast host, Grant McGaw, as he visits with top executives and entrepreneurs to find out their secrets of success with their personal brand. Follow the Brand TV broadcast host as he focuses on brand development to build better relationships, bring value to your business, relationships, and career. You will enjoy listening to each episode that is tailored to speak to you directly. If you're looking for this type of clarity in terms of building your brand, you have tuned into the right station. Each episode will help you to shape a conversation in the 5-Star BDM network of 20,000 professionals and become a springboard for your corporate engagement and business opportunities. Each guest will frame their story in the areas of personal branding, business development, career development, financial empowerment, and technology innovation. Grant McGaugh explains why he is the CEO and owner of his own professional career. Grant is an accomplished business leader and entrepreneur who wants to give back to individuals to grow their personal brand strategy. Tune in as he weaves his story about new possibilities, while to you exceed expectations. If you love storytelling, this show will make for fun.
We are, and what you say, we have to balance all of this with responsibility, because if you've seen the evolution take place as you aptly talked about even earlier, as we went through just the internet and then e-commerce, can we do business on this platform? And then that developed, and all of a sudden now you have mobile computing, you've got social media that's riding on top of that. Then you have something like COVID, but then even right before that, you had cloud computing that kind of like, all right, can we run our world in a cloud computing fabric? And guess what? We were able to. And then that just gave rise to where we are now. Can we connect all our databases? Can we connect all these things to actually become something greater than it was before? And here we have large language models, because AI has been around a long time. But what you didn't have is all these other things that enabled it to be even better, be even smarter. You have more exposure to all these different things. And to your point, is there bias? And you say, well, yeah, because it was created by human beings that have bias. So it does, but can we begin to take responsibility for that program? An algorithm is a software program. That's what it is. So how are we programming this kind of intelligence to actually become better? I like how you even talked about earlier around just being in India and being able to accept people for who they are. They're going to be different. Everybody's not the same. But if you respect people as a human being, you'll get further along. And I believe in our American experiment that we have here in the United States, we're starting to learn that. We're starting to accept people just for who they are, regardless of their gender, their race, their religion, and all these other things. So we can come to a greater realization of the human experience. I like that. I want to ask you this. As we start to look at where we are in the U.S., for our women in technology, we want them to be on the forefront, especially in healthcare, where 70% of the workforce is female. And understanding that this technology fabric is not just in the Department of IT. I think everyone now realizes technology affects every single facet of the workforce. Help our audience understand where, if they were beginning in this technology landscape, where should they be focused? Are they focused in software, cybersecurity, in IoT, in data science? How do they get started in this whole thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, Grant. And, firstly, I want to remind people that we truly have, I hear a lot of complaints about our educational system, right? We truly have an educational system that is awesome. And people might not pay attention to that because everyone has grown up in this country. But as someone coming to this country, I have a lot of appreciation. I'm someone who left other countries to come here to study my passion, right? And when it comes to technology, and by the way, India has great universities too, very strong in the sciences and technology. But so does the US, right? And we have to appreciate that. And I share that because sometimes I talk to a lot of women and men for that matter, and they're like, but I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where I want to go. I used to work with a lot of girls who code, and I don't know where to go to school. And it's such a hard decision. And I'm like, just pick one, throw a dart, and you're gonna be fine. Because the education aspect is just one of the many decisions you're gonna make. But the true decision that you really need to make is kind of like understanding what your interest is. And there's many different ways in doing that. And technology has so many things, like you say, cybersecurity, coding, IoT, whatever it is. Explore your interest. Find what really, really makes you have fun and specialize in it. And everything else will fall in place. And while you're exploring your interest, explore your passion, right? I really do believe that if you figure out your why, everything else falls in place. And figuring out your why is actually the hardest thing in life. There are many people who go through life who never really figure that out, or are not just, have just not had the chance for many reasons, right? They had to go to school and work at the same time. They had to take care of an aging parent, right? I mean, there's a lot of us who don't have that opportunity. But for those of us who do, take your time to figure out your why and try to also explore your interests. I believe in a strong foundation in technology, and this is why I kind of say it is worthwhile going to school. I've spoken to a lot of technologists who believe that, you can learn it by coding on your computer. You don't really have to go to school for technology. There's truth to it. You can learn anything by yourself, right? And I admire people who are self-taught. But I believe that you do have to have the foundations, whether it is school or whether it's seeking mentorship. Take time to get to the foundations of technology, because technology is changing every day. What has never changed is the foundation. And development languages have come and gone. Every few years they call something else. It's Angular or it's React or COBOL or whatever have you, but the foundations have never changed. And the approach has never changed. And so I really do believe in educating yourself on the foundations, however you choose to do it, whether you go to school, whether you're self-taught, whatever you do, just spend some time on the foundations before you focus on the shiny object. And it's going to give you your evergreen toolkit. I think for women and men, but more so women, mentorship is very important, because my early days in corporate America, finding mentors was hard, right? Because and even today, to some extent, I still hear that it can be hard for women because there's not a lot of women in senior roles. And my advice to women on that is, your mentors don't have to be women. They can be men too. Seek out male mentors, right? And your mentor is never going to be one person. It's going to be a series of people. I have mentors for technology, for business, leadership, parenting. I'm learning that I need mentors for parenting these days because I have a preteen. And so mentorship comes from many people, not necessarily one person. And while all that is happening, I think it's also important as a woman and man to participate in your community. It can be a lonely road, and I've spoken to a lot of women and men for that matter who say this is a really lonely road. Being in technology, I work in a business, my business counterparts don't understand what my role is, and it can be lonely, right? And the way you work through that is going through your communities, going through local groups for technology, and connecting with other people who kind of share your passion. And you will learn that you're not alone in this game.
lot of people being more and more aware of how these threat actors are going after people daily, every second. I mean, one thing that people aren't, they might not be familiar with is called phishing emails, right? Where they send you information, try to get you to click on a link where it's an offer or something like that. But 3.4 billion phishing emails are sent daily, right? Think about that. And they're saying for organizations, the average cyber attack is called a data breach, is costing $4.5 million to an organization.
Passion has been around helping communities of color and historically underrepresented and underserved communities, minority, rural, veterans, persons who are differently able, in the intersection of education, innovation, technology, industry, and let's throw some entrepreneurship in there just for fun. See more around innovation, incubators, accelerators. I love the idea of going from innovation to commercialization.
And if there's two more things I can share with you, and to me, these are the most important. Technology is a lifelong learning endeavor. You never stop learning. And if there's anything constant in technology, it's change. So always be learning. Identify how you learn the best. Some people learn through people talking like this. Some people learn through textbooks. Some people, it's experiential. You have to code in order to kind of learn. Whatever it is, make sure you're learning. And lastly, I would say never be afraid of failure. My daughter is a dancer. She's 12 years old now, and she's been dancing for, I think, since she was 3 or 4 years old. And I was always the backstage mom, helping these girls put on their makeup, get their clothes on, get ready, walk them to the stage. And what I saw in these young girls who were having fun, Grant, is the 5 minutes before they went on stage, they were terrified. They were terrified. And so one day I had to pull my daughter aside. And since then, I this is something I always tell her, and I always remind her now. It's important to have fun when you're on stage, but there is going to be a day when you fall. And the day that you fall, barring that you are not in physical pain, you need to get up, put a smile on your face, and keep dancing. If there's anything I tell women in technology is the one trait that is an absolute must-have is resilience, and be prepared to fail.
Man, do you hear that? That's called the mic drop. Just drop the mic for us. I don't have another. Any question I would want to ask, you have answered it. You have helped us as far as sharing your wisdom and your insights, your knowledge and your experience. I think it's been wonderful. I want you to help the audience understand how they can get back in touch with you from whether it's a LinkedIn or something to that effect. What would be the best way?
Great question, Grant. I'm on LinkedIn. If anybody has questions about, gosh, but what do I do with my life next? I love helping women in technology. Whether you are in school, exploring STEM, from a college perspective, whether you're entering the workforce, or whether you're even in the workforce figuring out, gosh, I'm having a midlife crisis, what do I do next? I'm on LinkedIn. My number is, my number is not published, but my email is, so please reach out to me. I'm always happy to pay it forward.
That's what it's all about. STEM, if people don't know, that's science, technology, engineering, and math. And you have mastered that. And I don't tell people, throw a dart, man. That's going to be my statement for the year. Throw a dart and go after it. I still am so impressed with you that you took a leap of faith to come to the United States, to study abroad, to get your education, and to become a successful information technology leader over these last years. And you've been on the cusp of all these different things that have developed. But I really love how you just stated all of it. There's a purpose to this. This is not playing games. When you can help another individual on their road of life to be a little bit better, then your life has purpose. And I really appreciate you being on the Follow the Brand podcast today, Vidette.
Grant, thank you for having me. It was an exciting experience. I absolutely love your podcast, Follow the Brand. I was listening to some of your other talkers, and gosh, talk about elevating people and their purpose and their passion, and elevating our communities through healthcare. You're doing an amazing job, and I thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you very, very much. The audience can tune into all the episodes of Follow Brand at 5-Star BDM. That is B for Brand, D for Development, and for Masters.com. This has been wonderful, and I will see you soon, Vidette. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Grant. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
I'll go back to the part of what I was told. I was told that I wasn't good enough to go to college. So I would go back and say, don't listen to people that put limits and labels on me. Mm-hmm. Because there's something that a really smart guy taught me once. His name is Chaz Hartwig. I love Chaz. And he said, Daphne, there's this thing called thoughts, actions, and results. How you think will determine what you do. And whatever you do will create results, outcomes. So if you think that you can drive your car 100 miles on 50 miles worth of gas, then you'll try to do that. And then what'll happen is you'll run out of gas. So if you don't like the results you're getting, you got to change how you think.
I tell people, use AI and technology to your advantage. Use it as a resource and as a tool. And I don't have to tell you, because I know that you do that on a large scale. I know so many other entrepreneurs who are doing that on such a large scale right now, right? And they're feeling the benefits of using these tools in the right capacity in the right way. And so it's exciting, but some of the world gets a little bit of angst about it. And so I'm like, okay, let me just give you a brain hack right now.
Anecdotally, from the moment I got into this position, the number of women, Black women, Haitian women, Black men, who have just come and said, you made me believe this is possible. Now I can speak too. And it's not about just appeasing, but they see the move towards inclusion, the need, the move towards someone who can represent their voice.
Well, you definitely need the education and higher education, master's level, by all means. But even with that, I think it's important for young people to understand that you're not going to finish your master's and become the CEO and run, a hospital and organization. You need some experience. You need to gain the knowledge. Healthcare is ever changing. And so we have to always stay on our game. We have to constantly be learning, going to conferences, trying to understand where this whole field is going. And so that's one thing. You want to gain your master's, but be a continuous learner in the process. Very important. You have to build those relationships. This is a relationship field. It's meeting people, working with people. We do not work in silos. In order to run a hospital, to provide care for our patients, we don't do it in a silo, just one department or one person. It's a team. It's a team working together. And so you have to be a team player.
When people arrive in the CEO, CFO, C whatever role, our biggest impact is helping the next generation. So if you can figure out a way to network, connect, create, and get your 5 to 10 minutes of FaceTime, they're happy to receive it. I'm happy to receive it. But make sure that what you have to say is impactful. So do your research. Because those 5 or 10 minutes that you're vying for, so are, hundreds of other people, literally. So make sure that you remember and know what you want to say in those 5-10 minutes, and make sure it's memorable. I exercised a little bit of that in my introduction.
Very real unfortunate situations where we can't control the number of Black and Hispanic physicians out there. The quantity is low, right? And so I don't know how to impact that. I don't know how to get more individuals of color from marginalized communities to take an interest in healthcare and become a doctor, because there's so many barriers along the way, right? And I don't mean intellectual. We got it in spades, right? What I'm talking about are the systemic obstacles that make it extremely difficult to be a person of color, much less a woman of color, and try to get into the medical field so that you can positively impact your community. So I understand that when we talk about public health, when we talk about genomics, we talk about certain conditions that impact communities of color, marginalized communities, indigenous communities, so on and so forth. The representation isn't there. And so it's really difficult to establish trust. And it's really difficult to get past some of those social atrocities when literally the people that contributed to those atrocities look like the person standing in front of you. Yeah. So I understand it becomes difficult, but I still think we have to take that step. We have to take that step in becoming more informed, understanding there's a number of genomic tests available that so many people aren't aware of. So many people of color aren't aware. They don't know what their insurance does or does not cover. The most common one is actually the It's called a BRC. I call it BRCA1, BRCA2 test for breast cancer.
The Black Business Expo's mission is to raise funds for high school seniors going to college or K through 12 entrepreneurs. This expo is a fundraiser for students. Please, you may go to www.blackbusinessexpousa.com to donate to the scholarship fund or use the Cash App at $BBXUSA. Our goal is to give laptops and up to $5,000 to 10 students. Students can register online at www.blackbusinessexpousa.com. Every dollar counts. Please donate to the Black Business Expo USA Scholarship Fund.
Five-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.fivestarbdm.com today to learn more.
Tune in for our next show or click on our website at www.fivestarbdm/followthebrandtv. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Grant McGaugh, CEO of 5-Star BDM and host of the award-winning Follow the Brand podcast and TV series, where I help you to build a 5-star brand that people will follow. My genius is personal brand development through intelligent communication and helping you achieve your business and career goals. I am a requested speaker on digital technology and brand development issues. I want to work with you to increase the value of your current opportunities while attracting new ones. Every one of you is unique, and we all share challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. As a super connector, I work with you as an executive coach to guide you along the complicated business and career development road, providing the enhancement tools and information you need to succeed. Together, I will help you succeed in today's challenging business climate. I will evaluate and measure your progress. Best of all, I am right alongside you every step of the way. Build the brand called you. Genius.